So I've been working in TV Paint recently, just doing some rough animation studies, and it's a great program for emulating the kind of 2D workflow. And one of the things it does that I really like is this kind of flipping mode when you press the arrow keys. Um, it rolls forward and backwards depending on which one you press, and then when it comes back to the frame you're on, so you get this kind of rolling back. And what it's doing really is it's emulating this thing that 2D animators do, where they roll the drawings between their fingers back and forward so they can kind of see how their poses are progressing. It made me think, that would be nice to have something like that in Maya. And obviously, we can scrub in Maya. You can scrub the timeline down here, or you can hold K in the viewport and scrub. But it's hard to keep that consistent, and it's hard to scrub to specific frames and back again and that kind of thing. So I started working on this little tool called, I call it a PH Flipper for now. I basically just put in a count for how many. In this case, it's just working on frames. I'm going to add this feature to it next. It'll work on keys as well, so you can just see your drawings or your poses. But in this case, it's just working on frames, and every time I press it, it goes forward the amount of frames I've set here, and comes back to the time. So again, I'm kind of seeing, like I'm kind of rolling these drawings, and it's got a backwards one as well. And ultimately, I'd like this maybe to be hotkeys rather than buttons. I'd like maybe even to be viewport buttons. Kind of exploring ideas for that. As I said, I'd like it to work on poses as well as just frames. Not a difficult feature to add. Actually, it's going to be the next thing I'll add. But yeah, I feel like it's kind of an interesting way of looking at your work. Definitely seeing some issues with this poor old Deadpool animation that I just took out for demonstration. I could do with a bit of love for some overlap and spacing and stuff. So yeah, just trying to get into that 2D mindset. So I'd show that rough version of it off and see what people reckon. Cheers.